Today we're talking about a situation most people don't plan for. We are shifting the focus to a different kind of journey, one that happens while you are still here, but perhaps unable to speak for yourself. This lesson is about what could happen if you're alive, but temporarily or permanently unable to manage your finances. We're not talking about end-of-life planning. We're not talking about wills or inheritances. We're talking about real-life, everyday money tasks that don't pause just because someone is sick, injured, or overwhelmed. In this lesson, you'll learn what tends to happen when no one has financial authority and how the court may get involved. Then you'll take one small action to start changing that. Let's start with something simple. Life keeps charging forward even when you can't. Bills still come due. Rent or a mortgage still needs to be paid. Insurance premiums still need attention. Taxes may still need to be filed. A business might still need decisions. None of these things are dramatic on their own. But together, they can create pressure fast. Now imagine you're in the hospital, recovering from surgery, or you've had an accident and can't communicate clearly, or you're dealing with an illness that makes it hard to stay organized or manage your affairs. Someone you trust wants to help. They want to pay your bills, talk to the bank, handle the paperwork, and keep things running. And then they hear a sentence that surprises a lot of families. "I'm sorry, we can't talk to you without legal authority." A common myth many people believe is that being a spouse or an adult child automatically gives you the right to step in and keep those gears moving. You might think, of course my wife can access my bank account, or my son can handle the mortgage. But banks, insurance companies, and other financial institutions are required to protect your privacy and your money. Without the right document, they may not be allowed to share information or accept instructions, even from someone who loves you deeply. Unless an account is held jointly, or you have already granted legal authority through a power of attorney, financial institutions are often legally bound to keep those accounts locked, even from your closest family members. Without that legal key, your family may face a significant management gap. Banking transactions, insurance claims, and even simple utility bills can become impossible hurdles. If this gap lasts more than a few weeks, it often forces a family into a process known as living probate. In the legal world, this is called guardianship or conservatorship. To understand the weight of this, let's look at a real story. We'll call him Devin. Devin's father began a slow progression into dementia. Because they hadn't put a financial power of attorney in place while his father was still competent, Devin eventually hit a wall. By the time it became urgent, it was too late for his father to sign anything new. At one point, while his father was in the hospital recovering from surgery, Devin couldn't access his dad's bank accounts to pay the rent or keep the insurance current. The banks wouldn't even talk to him. Devin was forced to go to court to be appointed as his father's conservator. It took 9 months. During those 9 months, his father's affairs were in limbo. It cost the estate over $8,000 in legal fees, medical evaluations by a neuropsychiatrist to prove incapacity, and court-appointed investigators. Even after being appointed, Devin's work wasn't private. Because conservatorship is a public process, he had to file a public inventory of his father's assets. He had to post a bond, which is like an insurance policy for the court, and file a detailed accounting every single year to explain how money was spent and ask permission for certain actions. What could have been a simple private handoff between a father and son became a long, expensive, and public court-supervised ordeal. Here's the important part. Devin didn't do anything wrong. His father didn't do anything wrong. They simply didn't have a plan in place for a period of incapacity. Many incapacity situations aren't permanent. They're temporary. It might be an accident, a medical procedure, a recovery period, a mental health crisis, a rough stretch. And during those times, having a clear way for someone to help can make the difference between stability and stress. If no plan is put in place by the individual, then the court steps in to help. This process is often called guardianship or conservatorship, depending on the state and the situation. The idea is that the court appoints someone to manage finances for a person who can't manage them themselves. The court's goal is protection, oversight, making sure someone isn't taken advantage of. But the process itself can be slow and demanding. It could involve filing paperwork, attending hearings, providing medical evaluations, background checks, and ongoing reporting. It may take months. It may cost thousands of dollars, and it is completed through the public court process. So here's a perspective shift that can help. Planning for incapacity isn't about giving up control. It's about deciding who helps you keep control when you need support. Without a plan, the system decides who steps in and how. With a plan, you choose. By watching this video, you've already moved past the biggest roadblock, a lack of awareness. You know that creating a plan is the best way to prepare for the unexpected. If you only watch this video, you should walk away able to explain this to someone else. You could say, if no one has financial authority and something happens, bills and accounts can get stuck, and families may have to go through court. Planning ahead gives someone permission to help. If you want to go further and take a small step right now, here it is. Think of one person you would trust to manage financial tasks for you if you were unavailable for a while. Maybe not perfectly, just competently and honestly. Write their name down. Then think of one backup, someone who could step in if your first choice couldn't. or even identify a list of potentials that you can decide between. Open your MyEstateKit app and include these choices in your list of contacts. If you want to go a little deeper, there are optional resources after this lesson. They can help you reflect on what kinds of tasks this person might need to handle and what information they'd need access to. And in the next lessons, we'll walk step by step through what a financial power of attorney is, how it works, and how people customize it to reduce risk and increase clarity. For now, you've done something important. Keep up the momentum.